Good morning, everybody. Hey, it's the Renny Doyle podcast with Chris. What's up?
I'm here. You know, it's awfully bright in my bedroom right now where my little office is. And I've even got all the shades closed.
Wow. Well, it's that time of year, right? You know, we just
Yep.
had summer solstice, and it's
That
you know
sun is intense.
it's sad though, because I love the days getting longer, right? And now they're going back to getting shorter.
I know. It doesn't make sense that the longest day is, I mean, it does make sense the longest day is the start of summer, but then the rest of the summer they just keep getting shorter.
Right.
It's an odd thing.
I mean, I like wintertime. I like my seasons, but I really it's like Diane and I were out riding the horses until 8 o'clock last night, and it was like, can't do that here in a few months, but hey, we're going to enjoy it while we got it. Right.
Well, you know, one of the things I like about Idaho, it's also the weird thing is it stays light till like 10 o'clock.
Yeah. 10 o'clock. When we lived there, we used to love that. And, the kids growing up little up there. And then, even I remember when I got up there to go to school, it was like, wow, just far enough north, well, and it's on the mountain time. And so everything changes.
It throws you off though. That's for sure.
I love it. It was really weird. Have you been to Alaska?
No.
Oh, so check this out. Probably told this story a million times. The second time I was up there, excuse me, the first time was actually in the fall. Second time was in the summer, and I'm up with a buddy of mine, and we're fishing, and it was a business associate, and we were fly fishing this river, probably about half an hour, 45 minutes outside of Anchorage. And man, we're having a ball, right? And time just flew, and he's like, "Hey, we better get out of here and get you back to the hotel and go get a little bit of sleep. We got an early morning." And I'm like, "Well, shit, no, man, let's keep going. This is out." And he's like, "No, dude, it's like 2 a.m. because it's still light outside."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, I want to keep going." We had to get up at like 6, so and that was my whole youth when I was younger. Everybody's out partying, and I was out. I love the outdoors, and that really got me to go to the base of Denali. You've got to get up there. It's anybody has Alaska. It's just well, there's so many cool places. The Hawaiian Islands are the same way, and it's right here in the States. So,
well, we got somebody joining us all the way from Manila, Philippines this morning.
Philippines.
I just looked. It's 11 p.m. at night there right now.
Wow, I've got a cool story for you. The unit that I'm in the Guard. This is just straight out for our friend joining us from the Philippines. Is called the 26 Mod. It's a cavalry unit that I moved over to about 9 months ago. So it's a mounted unit. And the last time that we had us being America had a mounted charge was in the Philippines with the 26 Mod. And we took in our our general of the National Guard here in California decided he wanted to take and make an honorary unit to kind of pay tribute to the 26th that did so much back in World War II in the Philippines. So he developed this unit, and the unit's really taken off because we do a lot of public events, but we do a lot of mounted search and rescue and then base patrols. And so that's our tie-in. I've never had so much fun as I've had in this unit. And it's pretty cool because our horses get to serve with us. So the little tie-in to the Philippines. So thanks for staying on. And it's late, right?
Yeah.
Philippines is another cool spot in the world, right? I mean, just awesome. So thanks for joining us. Couple different things. We're going to change things up a little bit today, Chris. Is we PNS, thank you so much for PNS always sponsoring, making the show possible. We love to have them involved. And we had a couple of really big weeks. Last week was killer. We had the gang from Auto Geek out to the PNS headquarters. Jamie came up, Jamie's an influencer. And what a great guy, dude. You haven't met him yet in person, right?
No.
Cool dude.
No.
Really cool dude. We need more of Jamie's in our lives. In our industry, he was just really down to earth. One time, I tell you how he This guy's really made something of himself, and it's really cool to watch it. And he's a real success story in the making. I mean, unfolding right in front of us. But he was kind of a guest there, and he was. I wanted him to come up with us, and he didn't want to. He said no. He said I want to just be part of the studentry. I want to learn, and I really gained it because he's got a name out there, right? No, he sat humbly in the audience, so to say, and partook. I really that really gained a lot of respect for me. But we had, I mean, Justin was there with Auto Geek, the Auto Geek team, their video team. Robin Sweet, which is Mafia, her first time me seeing her operate as a representative for Auto Geek. Boy, if that wasn't a proud moment to see her and Justin up there. Sydney, Sydney and Robin just killed it. Sydney amazes me because she's getting that good. Does that make sense? Is
Yeah.
to see her hone in her craft and to see how well. I mean, here's a detailer, that's just God, man. And then to see her and Robin up there, it was like Justin and I looked at each other like, why are we even here? I mean, let's just let them run with it. They were that good. But it was, you ever go to one of those events and it's like, it kind of takes your breath away? It was just, it was cool. It was a cool event. It was cool to see all the people. It was cool to meet. We met your buddy Pete up
Yeah,
there.
Pete's on with us this morning, and actually so is Jamie too.
Yeah, it was just, I'll tell you, man, it was just, I came out of there Friday. I came home exhausted. I was really tired, but I came out so like, I needed that. I needed to see, I can't even mention how many cool people we came in contact with up there. It was just a really, really, really cool event. I mean, it really was. It was something I enjoyed. Can you tell? I really got into it. I mean, it was just good people. It was good people. So anyway, hey, we in the last couple of weeks, you saw me wipe my tears away. This
That's
is our
right.
recent clay towel, and so we came up with a new clay towel. Some people were asking me, what's the difference between this and a regular towel? I really, is this sexy looking or what? Coloring. But if you can see, I'll hold it up a little closer, and you can see it's perforated. And what this perforation does is it creates more edging, and more edging, it gently will take and grab. It's going to grab more because of all these little perforations. You've got so many contact points that are pulling stuff off. And so this towel it wasn't an option for us. We had to do it. So that's now available. That was really, I mean, this is a cool product that we absolutely love.
And remember, one of the cool things it's used for is to use bead maker as a clay lube.
Mm-hmm.
It really saves you time, gets a better application of bead maker to the surface and everything else.
No, I use that on my own cars a lot. We use it. I'm using that towel a lot in my exfoliation. It just really works. We're using it in the wash clay and coat with Soul. And then we also came up with Lucid, which is our new headlight coating. Really excited about this. I tested this for 18 months on real world headlights, my old Chevy out there. I'm actually going to do a video here shortly. We got so many cool things. I'm really excited. I feel I've got a couple down weeks. It's amazing what will happen when you can just relax. It's a real lesson to myself because I talk about it all the time. But in the last 6 months, we haven't really gotten much. And when I say we, you and I, but our entire team, the double black team, I mean, we've just all been going so hard. And it's nice to wake up in the morning and know I don't have anything like pressing that I have to go just kill it on. And it's really reset. Get it? Reset. I don't know if I mentioned our new reset towel. But yeah, it's nice, and to be on the horses and to be, out in the truck. And I've got a lot of work, a lot of honeydews to do around here. And it's just been awesome. So let's get into it. We got a couple. So we covered the new products. And we're going to start something on the podcast called AMA Ask Me Anything. And so I had a really good question, and I am so sorry, Chris. I didn't go in and get the name. This person sent this to me over the weekend on Facebook, and I'm so sorry. I didn't see who it was. I should have done that. But before we go anything, aren't you going to ask me something?
Oh, you mean like what's on your shirt?
Oh my God, it's amazing that you asked me. I can't believe it. So this was actually a gift from you know who, Chris, and he knows that I love Top Gun, the movie. I got to tie into it. I'm not going to bore you with that story right now, but this bike was a legendary bike, and truth or show, I didn't own this bike, but I had a buddy, and I don't remember it because this is back when I was a teenager. I was 18 or 19 when the GPZ, when Kawasaki introduced the GPZ line. This was the GPZ 900R. And I had to think about that for a second. We just called it the GPZ, but they had a 750 that was introduced before that changed bikes forever, right? It was kind of the launch of the crotch rockets, the sports bike. And the 750 was really cool. It actually had more power, but the 900, the engine set lower in the frame. It was it was like just an engineered bike. This bike was just totally like engineered the right way. I wish Gordon McCall was on because he could probably explain exactly what size bolts they used on it. But I remember getting on this bike. I'd had a 750 that I owned, and then I remember getting on this bike, and it was like, whoa, this bike was just a game changer. And then so this was a friend's bike, but this was the bike that Tom Cruise Maverick rode on the original Top Gun. Chris knew it and bought it for me, and this bike's pretty legendary.
There's a little bit of interesting trivia behind that bike too. I don't know all the details, but I read it recently. They were supposed to use a different bike from a different manufacturer in the movie, and it was going to be provided by that manufacturer. But Tom Cruise didn't want to wear a helmet in the scenes on screen and on filming. And so the company providing the bikes didn't want a non-helmeted rider associated with their bike. And so the production company went out and bought 2 of these bikes instead, and the rest is history.
I'll be dang. Well, I'll tell you, if you look, okay, Top Gun, F-14s, there was no other bike at the time that could perform like this thing. That was, out of the box, so to say, off the showroom floor. So what a great move. That was also before the helmet laws, right? In California, some states still have it. I remember getting on this bike the first time I rode it, and I didn't have a helmet on. And this is a true story. I remember coming back from the first ride, and one of my buddies lost his license, and I think what happened, and I ended up with the bike for a few months over summertime. Can you imagine being 19 or 18 or 19 years old and ending up with this bike, and you didn't have to buy it? I mean, it was like a dream come true. But I remember riding it the first time without a helmet, and I remember coming home and thinking, I better put a helmet on. And so I actually, even though it wasn't part of the law, and believe it or not, I had really cool hair, and I had sense enough to know I better put a helmet on. So, but cool bike, cool trivia. Thanks, Chris, for the shirt. Absolutely, these shirts fit nice too. These are comfortable shirts. So I'm gonna have to go and look around and see what else I can find because I do enjoy them.
And that's in just in case you guys can't tell, that's not Renny's breakfast on the shirt there. Those are silhouettes of 2 F-14s in the background there.
Yeah, you can see it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And they're full back, their whole swept wing too, because a lot of people don't know that with the F-14s is those wings would sweep back, and man, the thing was wicked. So hey, again, sorry about this, but ask me anything. In your opinion, what's the most important part of running a business? And I really thought about this on Sunday a little bit, and this is what I came up with is, I don't know if anybody's ever had a custom made suit for you. I did a couple of years, about 3 years ago. I had the first couple suits made that I hadn't had a suit made for myself in a long time. And I went in, and instead of buying it off the rack, well, there's a couple different ways to run a business. Is off the rack is how most people do it. They go in, it fits all. They don't have it tailored. They go in, they start a business up, and they run with it. And a lot of times what they do is they ended up with a decent paying job that doesn't really have any value in the company's really running them. It doesn't fit very good. It's a little long in the sleeves. The fabrics aren't perfect. Might not be the right color, might not be the right texture, definitely not fitted towards, what the business can do. Now, the other way to run a business is just like building having a suit made for you. Now, most people think that you're going to get, a 2-piece, 3-piece, 5-piece suit. But let me explain something to you. Jacket and pants, right? Maybe a vest, but there's a lot more than that involved in having a suit made. Is that there's several fabric options. Just like it's you can choose a fabric that fits you. And in the business, you've got to take and build that business that it is you. There's actually about 38 different pieces of a suit when you take each element of a suit. And then once you break that down and you really start building it, there's about 200 separate pieces that make up those 30 pieces that make up those 2, 3 to 5 pieces of the actual suit once it's completely done. Is that it's measured and it's custom fitted. And so when you stand there, if you've never gone for, I suggest when you get to a certain level, is it really makes you feel good about yourself when you go in and you get measured. And it's just like a business the same way, is that you've got to bring all these pieces, these 200 little tiny pieces of fabric, and build sleeves. And so you're not going to have one piece of fabric on the sleeves. You're going to have you're going to have a top piece down in here. It's going to be cut. You're going to have around the wrist. You're going to have the inner liner part of it. And so you've got all these different pieces of your business that you've got to bring together. And so just like a good tailor, there's a tailor, there's a seamstress, and there's a cutter. And so your cutter, the person that's actually cutting the fabric, man, you talk about skill, is they're going to measure and they're going to make everything precise. Your business is the exact same way. Is that you can't go in, grab something off the rack and run with it. A lot of people start out that way. It's a real struggle. I definitely did with my first business, but each time I started a business up and each time that I've expanded and grown, is I've gotten better at custom fitting things. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to bring all the different pieces in. First off, you need to learn to market. You've got to learn to market. Second off, you've got to get connected. We're going to talk about that a little bit in today's topic of client compound. You've got to take and be able to market yourself. You've got to be able to fit in. You've got to be able to get out into your community, and your community needs to understand what you're doing. Not just your customer base, the entire community needs to understand what you're all about, what your business does, and why you would be a good referral. So this plays really, really well into today's topic. So truth in advertising number 2. So I told you about the bike. I didn't own it. I had a friend of mine that loaned it to me. Today, this is a big part of what today is Chris built this. I added in probably about 6 elements of this. Everything else is Chris. So well done, Chris. So we're going to jump in and talk about that right now. Guys, if I'm stalled a little bit too, excuse me, because I couldn't print out my notes. So I'm going right off the screen. I don't know what's going on with our printer. Good luck. You guys Chris, you ever own a printer and you just hate it?
Sure. I don't think I've ever owned one I didn't hate.
No, our last one was halfway decent. This thing is just, it's right when you need it, it's not going to work. I swear to God, it's got like a brain. It can tell when you're going to need it. This has been the worst printer we've ever had. I just can't stand this thing. But, I'm going off of notes on the computer. Actually, I like this a little better. It's a little easier. But, a lot of this is Chris going into this. And so I really want to take and give him credit. So compounding, referrals. So this is a great topic because it's something that a lot of people just really don't understand. Is we're so used to in the car care industry of compounding. It's a mechanical system. This kind of is too. If you think about it, is that it's an SOP. It's an operating procedure. It's got to become part of your daily operation, your contact with each and every customer, and part of what you're doing. Is we built our most successful operations, our most successful business, most successful service businesses all went by word of mouth. And there's a system and process of doing that. And we're going to talk about that today. So fun fact, 3 actions we took to turn our shops into shops that didn't need to advertise for new clients. Okay. Let me repeat that. We didn't advertise for new clients. So how do we build that? First off, number 1, we built meaningful relationships. Is that we went out with every customer. We took the opportunity. Now, some customers you can't build relationship, not there. They don't want the personal contact. It's just not there. But a lot of customers, they do. They really enjoy the connection. They really enjoy knowing who they're doing business with. I'm one of those customers. I like to know who I'm doing business with. And so we took the time and built really meaningful relationships. Number two, within those relationships, we really connected with the people. Now, with the people, I mean within the entire market. Sometimes that meant, a lot of times that meant not customers. Nobody was ever going to pay us. What do you mean by that? Well, we took and we started an education process. Is we took and we at that time we were really having, I'm pointing over here because my Chevelle's over here. We were really taking aim at the jet aircraft. Well, I didn't have a jet. Have no desire to. Well, I would have. I would have a jet. I'd have a jet instead of a Ferrari. Let me connect that. So we connected with the aviation side. We connected with the classic car market. The reason why on the classic car side, I could relate to them. I was an owner. That was the main reason I bought this car when I kind of, at that time, is we had kind of arrived, and it was kind of a self gift to myself for getting to a new level. But also it put me into a pool with other people that took and had really nice collector cars. Now that group, I call them the griots group. That group did a lot of their own work. That's okay because they had friends that didn't. And so I wasn't just looking at getting money out of people. I was looking at getting referrals out of people. We also, during the education, we did an education through being in events, shows, and so forth. We actually hosted events, open garages, and then support, meaningful support. What I mean by meaningful support is that we had a newsletter just like we do now. We had a newsletter. We're constantly educating. We entertained. We took and related to people. We related on the fact that if they had kids, at the time I had young kids, so I understood having the challenges of kids in cars, all those different things. And then lastly, number three, we asked for referrals. We didn't just simply expect a referral. We kindly asked for a referral. How I did that is I'm a handshaker. Is that even during COVID, I'm still a handshaker. Is that I took and would at the end would say, hey, I really appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. If you've got friends or family that you think would appreciate our level of service, we'd love for you to share our business information with them. Literally, I'd say something like that to everybody I came in contact with. I had nobody that wasn't a possible customer. When I pulled up at a gas station, I got so much work at gas stations, and I didn't do a hard sell. I'd go up and see a nice car, a car I could appreciate, something that I thought that we would like to work on in our shop. And I would just go up and hand them a card and say, hey, if you're ever in need of a detailing service, professional detail, let us know. It's a beautiful car, and walk away. It was as simple as that. I didn't do any hardcore selling.
Keep it real simple. You could do the same thing at a car show, have a meaningful discussion about their nice car, and then, end it the same way, just, by the way, I'm a detailer if you ever have a need.
Well, you've seen, Chris and I, we've got some shirts, and it says, Surgeon General warning. I mean, I used to wear really creative shirts, and we had some of those shirts made and we handed them out in our market. We wore attire that drew people in. So we were our brand, and we took and did a great job at connecting in our market and going out and being among our market. So Chris, you lead in, your existing clients mean more to you than you know. Boy, is that true or not? So many people are constantly reinventing their client base when sitting right in front of them is they don't do any marketing to their current clients. Your current clients have already spent money with you and they want to spend more with you. You just got to keep them right up at the front. And so it's so important to do that. And Chris makes note of that. But yet so many small businesses don't do that. And it's like, I don't understand that. Why would you not take and market to the people that are already with you? How do you do that? You stay in contact with them. We use constant contact email system. We've sent electronic newsletters out for 20 plus years, or right at 20 years. We used to send printed ones out, and oh my God, we did it once a quarter. And I want to tell you, Chris, it would take us an entire week.
By
the time we had them printed, we didn't even print them ourselves. We had them printed because there was, we'd send out 150, 200 of them. But by the time we printed them, by the time we addressed them, labeled them, it was a lot of work back then prior to having an electronic version of it. And my buddy Jim Gogan, we both really dove in deep into constant contact. probably in about 2007 is when we really started. Oh no, it was probably a little before that, maybe. That I think both of us were fooling around with electronic newsletters before that. But it really was a game changer. And as Jim and I got closer and closer, and Jim's out of Ipswich, Mass, and a good friend of ours. But so much of what we've done, Jim's a Hall of Famer. He's a founding Founders Club member in the IDA, and the guy is just brilliant. But so much of what Jim and I did in our early years was it was pioneering, detail marketing in the detailing industry, because none of us had really done it. Mark Johnson was another guy that we really bonded. There's so many of them, but those two really come to mind because we build up an entire system around marketing to our current clients and getting them back. Is that, we always hear this. We've got Air Force One coming up here in less than 2 weeks, right? And the people in the industry that know how hard it is to retain customers, really, it's never been a problem for us, but it takes a lot of work to retain those customers. They're always reaching out and saying, "Hey, man, that is so awesome! 19 years of doing these airplanes." And then you got the guys and the uneducated people that say, "Oh my God, you guys have done that before." Really, it's the same. Well, I'm sorry if your customers don't come back to you. I really feel bad that your customers don't come back to you. It might say something about your quality of work, might say something about you. It might say something about your lack of connection. But we really concentrate on repeat customers. And a repeat customer is really a compliment to you, yourself, because you're maintaining that customer. And it's also a tribute to how hard you're working to maintain those relationships. So your marketing efforts, when you start doing this, is not just to get, if you've got a strong referral system, is again, ask for it. The second thing is, and Chris is going to jump in here, is that you need to be screaming your message. There's a lot of noise out there right now. Just a tremendous, we constantly talk about that. Is that, between right now, let's name some stuff that's going on. Let's see. I love what this little sign we saw when we were over in England recently. We had COVID, World War III started up, gas prices are astronomically high, inflation's going crazy, our politics are nuts. Oh, by the way, we want to detail some cars. And so if you're going to contend with gas prices and the craziness of the world and a global pandemic going on, and then, oh, by the way, Russia and the Ukraine are in this big fist fight, you better have a good message, because right now, social media and our minds and our ears are filled with so much crap that you've got to have a clear message. It's right. A lot clearer message to have your clients talking your message and talking your business to other people they know in a quiet spot than it is to try to get out there and reinvent new customers. Now, if you're new in business or newer and you've got a small pool, the biggest thing you could do is start up exactly what Chris and I are going to talk about right now from ground zero, is start building up that relationship. Now, Chris, let's talk about pure recommendations and recommendations versus in referrals versus just going on and Googling detailers near me. So how many customers do you think trust recommendations compared to going out blindly?
Oh, well, getting a referral or if you're looking for a service and somebody refers one to you, you are way more likely to use that service than if you just go out and try and find one on your own. That referral is, it's really like as good as gold. People just trust it more. It's gonna get through. It's gonna make that connection better. I was gonna say that I don't have to do that much detailing anymore, right? Working with you and stuff like that keeps me very busy. But one of the things I do still do is I take care of my existing clients. Especially I have this core group of really good ones that just love doing business with me, and they like to refer business to me, but they know how my business has changed, but they still like to support me as much as they can. And man, those people are definitely the ones you want to take care of. And they do go out of their way to share your name, your information, everything you do with other people, because they love you and they want to support you.
Yep, absolutely.
You know,
I've learned this, Chris, is just having common courtesy, please and thank you. When somebody refers us over, this leads right into the next couple sections, is that we always made sure to call them and say, hey, man, thank you. We really do appreciate you doing this. People just love a thank you and recognition. The other thing is we'd use some kind of reward. I'm not a discount guy. I don't like giving discounts, price discounts. We'll talk about that in a second. But your referral program, the nice thing is birds of a feather flock together. That old saying, right? Is that you want to make sure that your referral program is targeting the right kind of people. The last thing is that you want a customer is you want to make sure it's a good fit, not the wrong fit. The other thing is you want to make it really easy to understand. Chris really highlighted this. Easy to understand your referrals, meaning what are people going to get if they refer you, especially in your early. And when we first started a location up, is we wanted to take our referrals were so strong to us. We really put that out there. So easy to understand, appropriate rewards and offers, simple sign up methods, simple eligibility, and easy to redeem. A lot of times what we did is in the beginning is we put it out there, say, hey, we actually had a really nice like postcard size item. And what it did is it was a thank you card. And it says, our business, our small family business continues to run and support our community by kind people like yourself referring us to others. Ask about our referral program. And so we automatically say, well, we get people that would say, hey, the Joneses sent me over. So make sure that you get them a data boy. A lot of times what we do is we would, again, not discount, but the next time we'd see them, let's say that somebody had an $800 single step paint correction with a coating. That's a nice customer to gain, right? So we would be back over the Joneses and we'd be in for a maintenance weekly maintenance wash. We give them that week's on the house. We just say, hey man, you sent these people over to us. Thank you so much. This one's on me. Something just as simple as that. Sometimes going out there and doing something unique like that, that's not on the menu, that's off the menu, is that you're the owner. You can do things like that. And sometimes they're like, oh my God, thank you. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to get even more referrals because you were kind. I don't like tying it into a cash value is, oh, we'll pay you $100. Man, to track that stuff's really tough. There's modern ways with software. By the way, software. On this referral system, software is a must. Software in your detailing company is no longer an option. It's an absolute must because it's going to help you with standardize your referrals with text messaging, with emails and so forth. You can do so much with software that's going to help you that we just didn't have back in the day. That's present now. It's the real world, and it's just getting better and better and better and better. And so make sure that you tie your whole referral system back into your software by by activating your text messaging and your emails to ask for the referrals during the process and after the process. So a lot of times is instead of a price discount is what I'll do is in there is that if you send them something, some kind of communication, ask the customer, hey, was this a referral? ? If so, who sent you? And when they respond it back, follow up on that, and then maybe send an email notice out to that person saying, hey, thank you so much for referring us. And by the way, congratulations. On the next time we see you, we're going to give you a free coating upgrade for your windshield, a free engine cleaning, wheel coating. All these different things are easy but valuable. Is like a window coating. That's at least $100 value, but it only takes you 20 minutes.
Right.
But it's got a huge value on it, right? And so I think that's really important. Now, Chris, you talk about promoting your referral program by marketing to your customers. How do you do that? What do you do?
Well, the very simple one is you got to just talk about it. You can't just have it and not do anything with it. So you got to talk about it, face to face. You also got to, if you have staff, you got to make sure they know about it and that they understand it, because they're going to have interactions with your clients too. And so, You just need to be able to, share that referral program, ask for those referrals and everything else. And then, beyond that, you talked about the electronic stuff, right? So, whether you have a referral program that's explained through your website, you do it, say through your email newsletter, you always mention it, that kind of stuff. Um, your social media, everything, all those usual electronic channels to help spread the word.
Yeah, it's huge. And again, I love the fact that you bring up your staff too, is that get your staff engaged in the culture of your company. And part of your culture is getting like customers back in the door. And so this is a really, really cool. Our one shop up in Sun Valley in Idaho, by the time that we are about 5 years into that shop, is we had zero advertising. We didn't all of our advertising. Let me rephrase that. We had zero outside advertising, meaning that we weren't. This will go way back. This will tell you how long ago this was. Is we weren't in the phone book. We didn't get into the expensive phone book option. We didn't have to pay for space on our website for Google Ads. We'd done our website up good at the time, so we were organically really in that market. We were the first detailing company that came up as the web developed, as online sales developed and so forth. We got to the point where there was no need for spending outside money to promote our business. What we did is exactly what Chris is talking about, is through our culture, is we would take and draw in the right type of customers from our customer base, going out and telling their friends and family about us. There was no need to take and bring out in advertising. Matter of fact, we had a membership program that we sold out. We completely sold out our membership. And it took me, I want to say 2 years in, we hadn't sold a single membership. Matter of fact, I was like, why is that even there? Why do we have it? We knew at some point if we could get it right, it would have value. We saw it, but we started doubting ourselves. And all it took is Vince, one of our customers, I talk about him all the time, is he asked me about it one day, and he signed up for it. Matter of fact, we went from 0 to 6 because he had 6 cars, and he took 6 positions. Well, all it took is he said, "Hey, man, make this thing really unique and make it high end so I can refer it over to my real high end friends." And so, we had coins back then. They're known as challenge coins now, but we had coins made up as business cards, and it was called the Gold Medallion Club. And we had medallion stickers, really high end ones, and it looked like a wax stamp from back in the day. It was cool. It was really cool looking. It was very odd for a detailing company to have that kind of marketing at the time. And so we made it very high end, very exclusive, very not for everybody. And that's really key, is because that was who that client base was at that location. Is they didn't want average. They wanted non-average. I'm telling you, within 6 months, we had all 25 spots sold out. There was a waiting list to get in, and all it took was the right customer, but more so our attitude of we never gave up marketing it, and also we kept it unique. It was really different. We stayed patient, and we had to grow into it. Our business wasn't ready for it. We hadn't got comfortable enough with who we were, and we hadn't gotten comfortable enough with our messaging, and we actually hadn't figured out the operating procedures for the membership. And so I'm actually glad that it stalled out a little bit in the early days, because in 6 months it went from 0 to 25 members, and we wouldn't have had the assets to run it correctly had it worked in the very early days. And so that whole program was built off the success of referrals. It was 100%. Matter of fact, the only way you could become a member was another member referring you. Is that we mentioned it in our phone conversations, but we didn't really push it. The reason why, and Chris noted it here, is we knew it was a very, very eclectic, we were looking for a certain clientele. We were looking for a certain customer that really had impeccable taste on their vehicles. And the reason why is we did not want to take and be cleaning dirty cars weekly and keeping these cars perfect as the membership stated. It was a perfect card membership. And so therefore we are real picky and choosy. But yet within getting in with the right person and asking that person and to tell other people about it, and then listening to that customer base, they told us it's got to be unique, it's got to be different, and it can't be to everybody. It's got to be a very select group within your customer base that can get that. And that's exactly what we did.
Crystal Clean Detailing's on with us, and they commented that 90% of their new customers come from referrals. And, that actually takes full circle because, 90% is that number of, people that trust referral recommendations, so they're, based on that number, they're getting nearly 100% of the people referred to them, which is killer, right?
Yep. I'm telling you, you just nailed it. Trust. Once we moved and I've said this for the last 20 years, once we moved all of it doesn't matter what industry we're in. We've owned businesses and we still do in different industries, it's got to be trust-based. And, you look at Bob Phillips, Dave Phillips, the entire Double Black team, is that we try to build up our business and our culture of being a trustworthy company. Trust is so important in your company that people entrust you and trust you. They're entrusting you with something that's of great value. And vehicles have never been of greater value than they are right now. And it's really expensive. I was just talking to a friend of ours yesterday, and she came cruising in a very clean used car, but very basic car. And it was really interesting because her response was, we want a new truck, but we're waiting because the truck we want is about $100,000. But right now that truck's $125,000, and we're simply not gonna be foolish with our money. And so they came in, they went and bought a very basic used car. My point to this is that person entrusts us with their work. But you can see they're very, how do I say it? They're very successful people. I mean, very successful people. They've got money, but they're not going to spend foolish money. But yet when they need all of their work done, guess who they're turning to, right? And so right now is building up trust. It's real hard there's so much noise out there. And ask yourself this, out of all the companies that you work with, how many of them do you have overwhelming trust in? And it's probably a handful, if that, is that really, really you just totally trust them. Is I can think of a couple that we do business with on a regular basis. And the rest of them, it's like, I really don't understand them. You know why I don't understand them? You know the difference between the couple that we really trust? They're in constant communication with us, and they're constantly educating us within those services that we buy from them. The other ones don't. And so I love the fact that you brought up trust, Chris.
Yep. And, and on top of that, the other thing tied into that is being grateful, being thankful. Don't forget that when, you mentioned it earlier, thanking them by providing a service for them the next time or whatever. But don't forget, if somebody refers you somebody, take the time to make sure you thank them every time they do, not just the one time. Keep it going. Send them a thank you card, whatever it happens to be. Make sure that they know you acknowledged, that they sent you somebody. Otherwise, if you don't, honestly, it may stop someday. So you got to keep that going. Yeah. And that'll be part of actually remarketing your referral program, whether you're reminding people that it exists or you're making sure you follow up and thank people for the referral. That's all part of the remarketing system. That's part of it.
I love it. Well, and your client, as your company grows and things change, it becomes really tough. As we become, I hate the word busier. Isn't that funny? I always got a pet peeve with the word busy. Just because I don't know. I hate being that busy where you can't respond. And that's been me for the last, really since COVID hit. It's just, I've got so many loose ends going. I think a lot of people feel that way. You can't keep up with it. Right. And you came on, right. I mean, literally, what, a year before COVID hit, Chris?
Yeah. Yep.
And all of our original plans got thrown out the window until recently. We're kind of going back and revisiting and trying to get back on track on some of those original things that we had, because I was slammed. My relief valve was you. My relief valve now, it needs a relief valve because we're both so slammed. And so I like the refresh, the remarketing program is updated now, because it's each platform you arrive at is going to set forth a different set of challenges, and you've got to stake on. You can't start it, and you name it in here. It's consistency. Is that you've got to stay consistent with it, and you can't stop on that. You've got to monitor its effectiveness. You got to continue to tweak it over time until it performs the way you want it to perform. And again, is that it's just got to be, it's a system and process that you got to develop. A, shake hands and kiss babies, meaning that, you got to ask for it. B, you've got to have electronics put into it. You've got to have software put into it. And you've got to be out there, doing it. And then you got to track that, is that, hey, who referred you? We've got a great reward system. We want to make sure whoever referred you gets a little goodie that we've got for them. And then hint, by the way, you can also get these goodies for referring customers to us on your own. So we always, and I'll tell you, humor and entertainment and being silly and being different is we were over, Bob and I were over at Waxstock, and there's a company called Sam's Detail Products. The guy, Sam, I mean, he's the character of it. Such unique marketing is that saying I just said about, it came from Sam's. He had a little sign. I put it on social media, and it says, first we had COVID. Now we got World War III. Forget about it. Go wash your car. He just had real off-canter kind of humor in his business, and it was a theme, and there was no theme. It was so odd and off and random that it was really cool. And I think that really draws in a lot of people, is just being random and organically you. If you don't have that type of personality, you need to start developing it. None of us were born with that personality. It was developed. I remember getting thrown in 5th grade into special ed. And I think I was just an average kid that was really struggling at that point. What special ed, being put into special education, did for me was the biggest gift of my life. Is it helped me develop my personality, because I could either be the kid in special ed that was going to get picked on, which did happen, but you know what? For a very short time, because what I started doing was building up my personal skills on how to build relationships up. And slowly, people that were rejecting me because of what I was and where I was started accepting me again because of my attitude. And I could either get bitter. I had to develop it, is what I'm getting to. Is you're going to have to develop. If you're an entrepreneur, you've got to develop. I've watched Elon Musk develop. Anybody else with me? Is if you watch his first communications, is he wasn't that great of a communicator. And I won't call him shy, because I don't know if that's the word. But now, if you've watched him come out of his shell, his style is uniquely him. He's developed that style over the last 20 years. And you're going to have to develop your style and your personality, and your referral business is based on that. Listen, people aren't referring people because they need a detail, or they need this, or they need baby food or baby formula, which they do because there's a damn shortage. I think it's because our president might be going through, he's probably eating a lot of that formula. Never mind. That's a whole nother topic. I'll go
that's ensure.
Well, there you go. I won't even, that's a whole different thing. But it's no matter what they want, is they're not referring that, they're referring you. Yep. They're referring you because they trust you. So building up that trust, building up that personality. And listen, you don't have to be this, just outgoing, outrageous person. That be you, and develop the person that you're comfortable with. But never take and stop developing that, because that's all part of your referral system. You are it, not your company. Your staff is it, not your company. It's you and your staff and your culture that they're going to be referring, and then your high quality work. And it might not be, I hate to say this, is that it might not be all the polishing work you do or the amazing interiors you do. Is it might be that you take and deliver a product that is seen of value in your market, and it could be a wash clay in Seoul that does it, and you didn't even touch the paintwork, but they're going, "Wow, look how shiny that car is," and you're looking at it going, "That thing's a swirl," you know, but it's shiny and protected, and that's what your customers want.
It's the whole package, right? They like you, they trust you, they want to see you succeed. And believe it or not, these customers that refer you regularly, they genuinely, care about your success.
Absolutely. So lastly, let's go into this with when you're tweaking your system, be able to track it is how many of your existing clients are referring you. You've got to get that number up. It's a simple equation. The more referrals you get, the more business you get. And the more referrals you get, the less you've got to take and rely on outside resources. One of the top detailers, probably the most profitable person in all of auto care, does not have a website and has no social media. I've met him several times. I got to see him the last time I was in Germany. I got to hang out with him. Amazing, amazing shop. You never know that it's there. He's got a very small client base, and he's known in the circles that he's within and nowhere else. Yet he's probably the most profitable person in auto care that I know of, including me. Um, the guy, it's amazing on what he's done, but it's taken him 30 years to hone that in. He's built up a great life and a great lifestyle in those 30 years. It's not like he was just cranking out. He's been working hard for it, but it took time to develop that. So be patient. How many of your clients continue to refer you over time? That's a big one. It's like I said, the naive person will look at us as we embark on Air Force One and say, "Oh my God, come on, you guys are doing that again." The smart business person, the smart entrepreneur, look at that and say, "Wow, those guys have locked that in for almost 20 years." Because believe me, there's been a lot of people go after that account, and nobody's been able to knock us off. The main reason why, I'm going to tell you guys, we do good work. We understand the challenges of a $300 million artifact, and then all the other artifacts we work on. That's part of it. But the key is a relationship. It comes down to we've built relationships and trust up. And then lastly, go
Oh,
ahead.
I was going to say, what's really cool about the Air Force One project? Not only does the museum keep having us back, but our sponsors keep coming back.
Yep.
They continue to want to support us and the work we're doing in the project itself, and that's pretty cool too.
Well, and here's why: is because these are sophisticated businesses, and there's a long list of people that help underwrite this. But what they see in the big picture that a lot of people don't see is we're building up entrepreneurs. Is what that project does since we opened it up to others, and we don't have a lot. It's a small team, 30 people now, probably the biggest it's ever been. Our days of having these mega teams, we learned last year after COVID, we had a team of 19. Is that it was really people that wanted to be there. It was dedicated craftsmen. It was dedicated entrepreneurs, and we did a lot more with little. And so the camaraderie, the teamwork, it's probably one of the most amazing weeks of my entire life coming up. Is that it's that meaningful. But not only that, Chris, not only does the museum and Boeing trust us, not only do the sponsors that keep coming back, and we're going to really start sharing who those sponsors are. The Air Force, they still own that airplane. That is not owned by the museum. It's on loan.
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize that I've got to put in a request every year that goes to the Air Force. The Air Force sends it over to the DoD, and it used to take months. As a matter of fact, the first time it took like a year to get approval. Now approval, I send it, and literally, if it's not back to me and saying, "Oh yeah, do it," within 24 hours, it's odd. And so a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of times all it is now is me making a phone call or the museum making a phone call. We get approval right then and there, and they send it over. And so that trust factor comes with time, and it's such a huge part of your referral system. And the last thing is Chris has got notice in here is what's your customer cost? What's it costing you to obtain new customers? Because I can tell you off the referral program, it's a fraction of what it's going to cost you to market it. The other thing it does is the continuity and the repeat business. It's incredible. It's just the relationships, the value of your company. And that's one last parting gift before we leave. That returning customer base, when you have such a strong referral business, and then eventually over years and even decades, 10, 20 years, is that in your exit strategy, in the event that you'd like to sell your company. I've got a good friend of ours that just sold his company. He sold it for 7 figures, a detailing company for 7 figures. Is that one of the things that they really look at is that repeat customer and the trackability and making sure that company is actually worth it. This individual doesn't take cash under the table. This individual runs a really legit shop that does a lot more than just automotive care. Is they really it's a whole God, what do you, it's a lifestyle business. It's something that attracts people. It's amazing, right? 7 figures, 7 figures, and this company relies heavily on its referral business and has built a real serious business off of having referrals, not having to go out there and constantly reinvent themselves with new people that don't have the trust factor and don't have the connection, don't understand the culture, but yet they've gone out and built it, and they've got an amazing culture that's going to bring them in 7 figures off their 20 plus years of effort. So, all right, well, Chris,
You know,
productive
yeah,
day.
before we wrap up, I do want to circle back on something you touched on a little while ago. And that is software. And I just want to share my experience with it. For, couple things, we actually have a couple of great sponsors this year for Air Force One. You're Able is one of our bronze sponsors, and then one of our returning sponsors for multiple years as a silver sponsor is Road FS by Zenware. So, both these companies make great software to help you do things. But what I want to point out is how important that software is. In my dealings with our potential students, with the 175 members of our Detail Mafia, all that kind of stuff, I could not keep track of the things I keep track of without software. And you guys need to make sure you introduce that into your business so you can keep track of your customers, so you can take notes on the things they like, the things they don't like, the things that they've done for you, the referrals they've sent you, all that kind of stuff. Because the ability to pull that information up at your fingertips is going to make you look like the most amazing detailer in the world. They're going to be impressed by what you remember about them. And you can't possibly remember these things with everything else going on in your head these days. But knowing how to use the software and putting it to work is going to help you do that.
Well, just them listening to this podcast alone just makes them one of the most remarkable detailers in the world. Just saying. No, it's all seriousness. This will give you a thing. And I mean, Road FS and You're Able, two amazing companies. Road FS, Jody and Rod and I have a 20 plus year relationship. They've been pulling this cart. They've been a workhorse within the software side of things for a long time. 20 years ago, it was a real struggle to get one detailer to even look at software. We were using the software way back, and guys and gals, it is like Morse code versus modern day technology. It was complicated, but yet it was game changing. We had to use it. Now, flash forward 20 years, and these pioneers have made it really simple and affordable. And it's you just can't go without it. And this isn't a commercial on it. This is telling you right now. I don't care if you're a part-time. This young man last week up at PNS headquarters, he showed me his software and how he's tracking. Now he's got a full-time gig. This is a side hustle. He had it broken down after his expenses. Everything was in there. He had it all the way down to every little piece, nut and bolt was put into his software. And his profitability is, I want to say $78.50 an hour after everything was said and done. That is how precise you can be. And man, I looked at this young man and I was like, which he's coming to training in, and I can't recall his name. I'm so sorry. He's coming to training in December. But I looked at him and I was like,
that must have been Ramiro.
That's it, Romero. That's it. So I looked at him and I was blown away that this young entrepreneur, that's a part-time entrepreneur, by the way, has his act so together that he realizes the importance of tracking that. And it was huge. It was absolutely huge. So,
Yep.
all right, Chris. Well, unless you've got more, let's you guys go out and client compound. Is making this happen is not an option. If you really want to change your business and you really want to take and really focus on taking and making the most efforts, is that get people talking about you and get people referring you. It's an absolute game changer. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your business, and it's going to make life a lot easier. And honestly, you're going to have your culture is going to be really cool. Is you're going to be able to do something to your culture that a lot of companies can't do, and you're going to love it. You'll never regret it. And just this is something you haven't started. Let's say if you're even a business for 10, 15, 20 years and you just don't have a real good referral program going, do yourself a favor, get one going. If you're new, do it right now. It's a lot easier, that muscle memory, to get it in the early stages than to change it up later. But it's not that hard. Even if you're well into your business, just get it going. Do it and you won't regret it.
Yep.
All right, Chris. Well, I am off. Rip has got to have new horseshoes put on today, and that's going to be trying to take. And he's young and big and does not like his feet messed with. So today, the next hour and a half is going to be interesting. Wish me luck that I don't get killed in the meantime.
That reminds me. I just saw a funny video I think it was yesterday on social media. This guy has to cut the nails on his dog's paws, right?
Yep.
But dogs don't like that. The way he distracted him was he wrapped his own head in saran wrap, put peanut butter all over his forehead, so the dog would lick the peanut butter to distract the dog while he was cutting his toenails. So
yeah,
maybe
I can imagine it, and Rip's a foodie. Maybe if I show you a video later, okay, hold on. How'd the dude breathe? Just
around his forehead, not his full face.
You don't understand, man. Rip is, if I put it on my forehead, I'm going to have horse slobber. Yesterday was funny as heck because we're out riding, right? And Ollie, Diane's horse, is a little more seasoned. He's a little older. Rip's real young. Well, Rip was not he wasn't in a mean mood. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body, but he wanted to screw with people. So we're sitting there riding, and he constantly either wanted to go up behind Ollie and like nip his tail or his butt, or he had to walk next to him. But Ollie's got like a 2-foot personal space. He's kind of like Diane. He's got an air bubble around him, and he doesn't like people coming in that bubble, right? Rip doesn't have one. And so Rip is constantly trying to ride right next to Ollie, and it's driving Diane's horse nuts. Then we go to get through the gate, and I pull Rip, and I'm getting him out, and I'm trying to close the gate, and it's got this little attachment. Well, Rip is grabbing my hand and nibbling on my finger so I can't close the gate. And then as I get the chain in my hand, he grabs a hold of it and he's pulling the chain off. So then I get the chain. I'm like, knock it off. So I go to get it around, and he pulls the chain again. So you can imagine today I'm going to be honest. Diane has had to have him reshoed. This is my first time. And she just said, you know what? He's your horse. I'm not doing this no more because he goes crazy. He's psycho. So I don't know what I'm a little nervous because when she says that, she's got good patience. So I think I'm in for it this morning. So
it'll be fun.
All right, man. Well, hey, everybody, have a blessed day. Go out, start that referral system going, compound it. Chris, great job of laying this out. This was nicely done. I appreciate all the hard work you put into this. And again, if you guys, if you like this, please, make a comment, share it, man. Really, seriously, share it. But make a comment, and especially over, on all the different podcast hosts and so forth. Give us a thumbs up, and let us know if there's a topic. We love this. Ask Me Anything. If you've got a question, especially we like to see more if somebody's asking the same question about the same topics, we love that. But any questions you've got, I promise to give credit next time. Those that asked it, very, very sorry. Other than that, have a great day, guys. You take care, and we'll be back on next week, and we'll see you then.